Alrighty, regression. Have you ever wondered what's the meaning of regression? Or have you ever tried Googling the definition of the word itself? I really want to share this with you. I noticed that a lot of students who do not speak English as their first language, they neglect the importance of understanding the meaning of the word itself before diving into the concept. As a matter of fact, if you know the meaning of the word itself, actually you would understand the concept way easier. So, the meaning of regression is exactly the opposite of progress. For example, if you progress, you improve. If you regress, that means you're going the opposite direction of progress. Just wanted to clear that out first. So I hope that makes sense. So, what is a regression testing? A regression test is basically a test that you would write for a new feature or bug fixes. For example, let's say that the user adds a title here, then adds some description here. Then our design team, they decided that instead of putting the plus icon over here, let's put it over here separately outside of this particular component. Let's create a separate component for the plus button to be on the right side of this box. Okay, that could be a design change, and that could be a new feature. For us, it might look like just a change of position, but technically that would be introduced as a new feature. So what you do, you have to write a test case for it. And that test case can be considered as a regression test. And also a bug fix. Let's say while testing, we found a bug and we report it and developer fixes it. And we have to write a test case for that particular bug fix. And that test case is considered to be a regression test. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bug fix. Any change in the code that would make a difference on the UI function. And for that, we need to write a test case. And that test case is also considered to be a regression testing. I hope that's clear for you. And at companies, we have 3 types of testing, speaking from a tester's perspective. Number 1, smoke test. Number 2, regression test. Number 3, API test. API stands for Application Programming Interface. We have these 3 testing types at every single company: smoke, regression, API. And of course, we have also unit testing, but that's taken care of by the developers. Therefore, it's really important that we need to understand these crucial testing types deep down, not just on the surface, but we must be able to explain it, how each and every one of them works. All right, then let's start testing. For regression testing, I cannot just go and come up with test cases. First of all, we have to do testing. We need to test to find some problems and so on. So now I'm going to perform some ad hoc testing. Take a note. I'm going to do ad hoc. Ad hoc is a random type of testing, or we could call it monkey testing. It's a type of testing that we don't have a specific guideline, but we would just go about and explore the application and testing it that way. So I'm going to do some ad hoc testing now. Cool. Now let's see. Let me click this. I want to click this button without filling anything for the title or the body. So let's just click the plus icon. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, I have an empty card. Do we really want that? Do you think the user should be able to create such empty cards without the title or the note description? I think that is a bug. So what you do? You are going to go ahead and report this to the developer. But don't worry. I know that we haven't learned a software called Jira, and that would be our workspace where we could create, report bugs and things like that. We haven't learned it yet. But simply take a note that at this point, you're going to report this bug. Okay? So that is one bug. All right. After you report it to the developer, we have to write a test case immediately, just so that after the developer fixes it, and also for the future, the same problem will not occur again. So I will go back to my test cases, and this is a fresh sheet. So the previous one that I created here as a separate sheet for the smoke tests we had. And this one is another sheet I created for regression tests only. And it's the same template. For the test case ID, I'm going to start with TC1. Or you might start with TC4 because we have TC3 as the last test case for our smoke testing. It could be something that you need to discuss with your teammates at this point, but I think this is another test category. That's why I'm starting it with TC1. The test scenario could be create an empty note or something like that. If you have a better name, go ahead and name it better than this, but at least it should be as short and as descriptive as possible. Test steps. First, given user is on home page and create a new note without filling title and body. Number 3, then a new note card should not be created. All right, these are the test steps. And prerequisite, I would say user is on the home page. Test data, for the title, we don't put anything. For the body, we don't put anything. So I don't have a test data. Expected result. Going back to the test data actually, for example, obviously the NoteKeeper app that we're testing is like super like baby level application, but in reality you would be testing a more complicated application, and there most definitely you would need to log in with a user credential like a username and password, and then you would have to have a specific permission to perform some type of actions on the application. So we have user permission issue, and you need to have a login credentials, those type of things. So for that, you can put those as your test data here. Expected result, no item card should be created, and the actual result is the opposite of it, right? So the actual result currently is a new empty card item is created. Test status, fail. All right. Now, our first test case is done, and let me go through one more thing really quick. Let's say that you created a bunch of test cases, a bunch of regression test cases here. And for the initial testing, some of them are failing, for example, this one, and some of them are passing. Now, the question is, how often would you be executing these tests? For a regression, you will be executing it. It depends on teams and how, teams decide on this. But normally, software development teams execute the regression tests once every sprint. Like, so let's say if a sprint is like 2 weeks, you would be executing all of your regression tests once a sprint, basically once in every 2 weeks. If you do not have automation, imagine you are going to be running thousands of regression tests manually. It doesn't make sense doing that. So that's why no manual testers would perform regression testing manually. The smoke tests, on the other hand, they are much shorter. It will not take that much effort, even though it's manual. All right, now let's come back. I'm going to go back to my application and play around and see what are the other bugs I can find. Let me refresh this page, and then let me click on the note here. Okay, I think I noticed another bug here. Look, let me refresh it one more time. When I click, okay, notice, the moment I click this box, the mouse cursor or the focus of the cursor is pointed to the body, to the note body, instead of the note title. Look, let me click it. Do you see where my cursor is? The focus of the cursor, it's right here. It's flashing here. Instead, I think it would make more sense if it starts from here. Because as a user, you would write the title first and then the body. Or, I don't know, maybe some people write the body first and then put the title. But it's something to argue about. So whenever you have such a dilemma, you may want to check with your product owner. You can quickly schedule a Zoom call and show what you found, get their feedback. So they will decide. But for this, let's say that the cursor should be starting from the title. If that's the case, then we have to write a test case for it. And that would be another ticket for the developer to fix. So I will put a test case 2. We need to come up with a better name. The first one we said create an empty note. For the second one, we could say I think we could say mouse cursor should be on title, or should start from title. All right, just double click this line so it kind of aligns it. The steps for this, I would say, given user is on home page, and click on the note box. I think I'd rather call it make an initial click on the note box. Third step would be then mouse cursor should be on the title field. I think that's pretty much it. For the prerequisite, yep, user should be on the home page, same thing, no test data. The expected result should be cursor is at the title field. Actual result, cursor is at the note body field. Test status, fail. Alrighty, so we're done with our second test case. Alright, let's work on one more test case. So this is going to be our third one. And for this, I think I want to test out how long of a string this note title and also the note body can take. I'll show you what I mean. For example, is it okay if a user creates a title, for example, my title, like a long title name? For the simplicity's sake, I want to make it just copy and paste. You see, my title is so long. Is it okay? That is one question to the business team or to the product team. And what about the note? My long note is here. So I want to copy this and keep pasting. So I want to keep pasting it. I have a long title and a very long note body. Let's click the plus icon, create it. There we go. No restrictions at all. It's created exactly the way I did it. Is this okay? Do you think there should be some restrictions for the user, like give some limit for the title length and also for the note body? This is too much. And the title is also too much. Whenever you find such abnormality, okay, you cannot decide. But for you, how does it look? I mean, at least for me personally, this looks really bad. And definitely first, I would check with the developer. Hey, is this okay? So the developer knows it because the developer looked into the requirements of this particular feature before he or she developed it. And they have a better product understanding most of the time than a QA. So check with the developer. If you cannot get a satisfactory answer from the dev, then what would you do? So I hope it came to your mind. You go directly to the product owner. So in this case, let's say it is a bug. It shouldn't be like this. So let's report it. Cool. After we report the bug on Jira, and immediately we should create a test case. All right, our test case 3 for the test scenario, I like to write it like note title and body should not accept long text. Let's format it a little bit. Actually, I noticed a little mistake in the naming of test case 1. I'll explain you why. The test case 1, it says create an empty note. And then here test status is fail. So what does that really mean if you think about it? So are we supposed to be able to create an empty note or not? For the test scenario, if we name it like create an empty note, then here we say fail. So it kind of indicates that we were not able to create an empty note. So eventually, when this test case passes, what do? We have to change that to pass, correct? So when this test case passes, on the report, it would look like create an empty note, and then next to it, pass. Kind of looks weird. So instead, I want to change this to user should not be able to create an empty note. I think this makes more sense. Okay, it's not always about writing short name. Sometimes it could be a little lengthy. It's fine. Here, this is a fail. All right, coming back to the third test case. Note title and body should not accept long text. Great. Let's start our test steps. Given user is on home page and, or you could say when, it depends on how you word it. And user types long text for note title and note body. Then system should show an error saying text is too long. So I'm kind of expecting that when there is a long text for title or body, I think the app should display some type of message for the user so that the user knows what's going on. It's just kind of an assumption here. For the prerequisite, I would say user enters long text for title and body of the note. There is no test data. Okay. Then expected result, system should not create a note. Actual result, system allows a title to be created with long title and note body. All right, the test status, it would be considered as fail, as for now. All right, guys, this is how we can do regression testing. And now I want to challenge you to do a little more testing and come up with at least 2 more test cases, or come up with at least 2 more bugs if you can find. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how a developer would do unit testing in their own code. So, next up, be ready.